Hi guys, I'd like to welcome you to the most beautiful city on the planet, the beautiful and gorgeous Tucson, Arizona. Please come on in. I want to show you what's possible for you to do at your own house in the desert. Come on. The one thing you always want to keep in mind, especially in the desert, is you're trying to rebuild the land. You're trying to rebuild the soil. So if you look at the ground, you'll notice that we have wood chips, and all of these wood chips were chipped by yours truly. And what we do is we have all of our neighbors during the big garbage pickup or the big trash pickup with leaves and branches and things of that nature. We have them bring them all to our house, and we have a chipper here so that we can utilize it and bring it right back to the soil to help build this beautiful, beautiful ground that we have in a Sonoran desert. We've also set up a meditation garden. I built this for my wife because I was really big into the Roman culture and things of that nature, Greek history. Like when my wife comes home, to me it's kind of important that when she walks in, she gets to walk on flower petals. I know it's a little bit cheesy, but she likes it. And also, we're still utilizing anything that we get from the plants. We have a Zen garden right here, which, say for instance, if my wife has something that's bothering her, or anyone that comes here, if they visit, if they have something that's bothering them, a trouble, and anxiety, they can easily take stones, which represent mountains, or their troubles, or their anxieties, and they can set the stones in the box. And now, without even having to concentrate on what it is that's troubling them, they can just think through it, make their way around the mountains, make their way through the solution, find their path, find their distance. And there's your answer. Trust me, I just found it. And my question was, how can I make this as good as possible for you guys? And I got the answer by just being myself. Come on. We have a beautiful view of the Catalina mountain range in our background, and we use the phrase "together we grow." Especially with our neighbors, they help us, they give us this view, and in return, we share our vegetable produce with them, and they also have an amazing citrus garden over there. So we provide food not just for us, but for our neighbors, and together we provide food for the elderly in the neighborhood who might not have it. Together we grow. I think it's time for us to transfer some plants out here. So if you guys give me a second, I'm going to go inside. I'm actually going to get some starter plants, and I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to transfer starter plants, little seedlings, into an aquaponics setup. Now you might ask yourself, why aquaponics in the middle of the Sonoran desert? Well, believe it or not, folks, this is actually an indigenous way of growing that's been used by thousands of people, for thousands of years by the Tohono O'odham, also by the Ho'okam. It's easy because you're using fish waste to feed the plants, and we actually have a population of red wiggler worms in here, about 1,000 of them. They provide the castings that the plants actually love, so it's a self-sustaining system. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some starters right here, and we are going to set them into the aquaponics rig. Now there are two ways to do it. I'm gonna show you both of them. This is a handy tool that I use. I'm really giving you guys a tip right here because no one knows about this. It's a piece of PVC, and when you're gonna use it to move lava rocks, reach inside, move these lava rocks out the way. Now here's the beauty to aquaponics. There's no soil, guys. There's no soil whatsoever. You're using the lava rocks just as a means to hold and to carry feed solution, the waste, the fish waste, throughout the system. So that's all we have to do. That's as deep as we have to go for this right there. So as you see, that only took me like 30 seconds. And now we are going to take a squash that my wife started. We're gonna set it inside. Now here's the thing, and this is something that we kind of developed ourselves here. We're gonna take that PVC, we're gonna pull it out, and that's it. That's how you transfer a plant in aquaponics. Now, throughout our aquaponics garden, you'll see that we have actually a Thai pepper here from our friends Chippy and Joe back in upstate New York. We have basil here, basil here, basil here, another basil start there. And we set those in there by using our other way of plant transfer, which is this. And this is why we always say we use Zen when it comes to gardening. I close my eyes. Bam, entire root system out. So now what we're gonna do is take this, this is a good spot over here. We're just gonna move this out the way, just enough, so that we can put that little basil right there in its new home. Nature's going to do the rest. It's a self-enclosed, self-sustaining system. The most you have to do is feed the fish. By the way, let's take a look at the fish, come on. Now these are all raised from fry. This is about a 350-gallon tank, and these are my babies, these are my friends. Aquaponics is something where you don't abuse the fish, you don't abuse the plants. It's so organic, you grow with the system. So I know these fish individually. I actually thank them whenever we harvest. I appreciate what they do for the garden, I appreciate what they do for my family. Right about now, I think it's time we feed them. Now we have roughly 100 tilapia inside the tank. Let's see if we can get them up and going. Usually they be tearing this, oh, there you go. All right. Now, yeah, they're kind of nervous right now because they can actually see you guys outside of here and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Now, the way the aquaponics system works is the water flows through the system and gravity brings it through this pipe here. It then comes out into this upper grow bed, which is about 12 inches deep. And we use 3/4 inch scoria lava rock because that brings a really good substrates and a really good surface for the bacteria to grow, as well as for the worms to make their way through. As the water makes its way through the first grow bed, the upper grow bed, it then comes out into the second grow bed. So as we have the two waterfall systems, as beautiful and great as they sound and as productive as they are, the only actual working pump that we have in this entire rig is right here. And this would be considered our sump pump because it takes all of the water that's flowing through the system and it runs it right back up this pipe and brings it right back to the grow bed. After the worms and after the plants have cleaned all of the fish waste out, it goes right back into the fish tank so that we no longer have to use any type of water cleaner, anything of that nature. The system takes care of itself. That's the beauty of the aquaponics. You just make sure that it has water and you just give it love and it loves you right back. The plants are actually feeding off of just the fish waste. The nitrogen gets broken down, which is what the plants are actually eating. And in order for that to be broken down to a nutritious value, especially for the plants, that's why we have the worms in there. The worms help break that down. Also, the worms help break down any plant matter that might be existing from any other plants that we've actually had in here. The plants are actually living and feeding off of the fish waste, the nitrogen and the nitrates and the nitrites in the fish waste. Once the system's balanced, it takes care of itself. It keeps itself in perfect symmetry. So it's not just the fish and it's not just the plants, it's not just the worms, it's all of it working together. You might be asking yourself, why tilapia in a desert? It's hot, right? And it's water. Well, for thousands of years, the Aztecs were using this method. They were using fish to farm, but they weren't using tilapia. We're using blue Nile tilapia because they're very, very hardy, they're fast growing, and plus they are delicious if you grow them correctly. They've got a bad reputation, and I really want to work towards helping clear that up because, guys, it's something that we could all be doing at our homes. Now, you have some folks who may be using koi in their tanks. Koi is a beautiful fish. Well, you can have beauty and you can have substance. In my case, we want to have substance. We don't want to rely on the big markets and the big box stores and things of that nature. We want to know where our food source is coming from. So tilapia are very, very hardy growers. They're fast growers. They provide a good source of nutrition for the plants, and they actually self-control their populations in the tank. So it's never too full as long as you harvest. You take care of the fish take care of the garden. Little bit of onion action going on over here. I know a lot of people mistake them for leeks, but they're not. These are green onions, and the cool thing about these are actually scrap onions. We got these from the grocery store. I think these are 2 or 3 years old now. They've been transferred from traditional gardening to hydroponics, and now they have their final spot in the aquaponics garden. We have some tatsoi over here, Asian cabbage, and this is very, very, very delicious. We also have the super green kale. My wife likes to make her little kale shakes and her green shakes or smoothies, and this comes in handy. Also, I love making kale chips, but that's a whole different video. This is our super green, and this is New Zealand spinach. Well, in New Zealand, it's just known as ice plant. And if you look at the backside, you'll actually see crystals on it, which is the reason that it gets its name as the ice plant, because it reminds them of the terrain back home. Now, this is a perennial, and we grow this all year. When it comes to aquaponics, it's not about how much stuff you're growing, it's about how much space you're taking up when you're growing it, because you have a very limited amount of space. This entire beautiful New Zealand spinach plant only takes up about this much space in its aquaponics tank. Literally less space than one of these onion plants right here. We have the other super green Swiss chard right here, which is another proficient grower. And we have a beautiful head of cabbage right here. We get to the lower grow bed, and here's where we'll actually have our starter plants. And you'll see we have the basil, like we said earlier, we have the basil started in here. And we just set this beautiful squash, I think that's a squash right there. And we have the Thai pepper over here. Now, in about 3 months, these plants are gonna be fully grown, and we'll actually be pulling them out and putting the next batch in. The beauty of the aquaponics is the plants grow about 3 times as fast as they normally would, and they grow 3 times as big. Just take a look for yourselves.
Often called the mushroom of immortality, reishi is the top-selling nutraceutical mushroom species worldwide. In nature, it grows on hardwood trees and is well known for supporting general wellness and vitality. Reishi has been shown to be a potent immune system regulator and stress reducer and is frequently used in traditional Chinese medicine. Taken in the evening, reishi can help calm the body, giving you a peaceful night's sleep so you can wake up feeling fully refreshed and ready to take on the day.
Let's talk hydroponics. Now, first off, you'll notice that we have a greenhouse here. Why have a greenhouse? Well, we have fruiting vegetables, fruiting plants, and they've been fruiting throughout the entire winter. Most of these plants are about 2 years old, or they're clones from plants that were 2 or 3 years old. We have a variety of peppers, which are prolific growers in the desert. We have our ghost pepper right here, shishito, serrano pepper. We have Thai peppers, chili peppers, long peppers in here. These are Ukrainian peppers right here, more Ukrainians right here. These are shishito peppers, and right there we have a dwarf bell pepper plant. The idea is you have a limited amount of space, so you don't want to grow really, really big fruit. The beauty to hydroponics is you can actually use the earth itself to help you grow your system. We're using a modified flood and drain system with fabric pots because it makes it easier for the plant's roots to breathe. We've also incorporated a buried reservoir system. That way the water stays at a nominal temperature between 70 and 74 degrees. Doesn't really get much hotter, doesn't really get much cooler unless you're doing something to actually make it hotter or cooler. Oh man, look at our cherry tomato plants. These guys are doing great, and these are actually babies. These are clones from a 3-year-old tomato plant that we actually started here. There's another one there, another one there. These are cherry tomato plants. We have big red tomato plants right here, grape tomatoes here, and Roma tomatoes on this plant. It's good to keep a variety going, so then you can always cut clones and keep your supply going. Variety is the spice of life, we like to say. You kind of want to keep it controlled, and you want to keep things small. Now, if you take a look at our growing substrate, we use hydroton, which are the clay balls, and we also use a mixture of cocoa coir, which is basically the hair from a cocoa plant. Now, we use a modified version of it, which we do a mixture of it because the cocoa coir is really, really good at holding the nutrient solution from the hydroponics reservoir, and the clay balls are really good to help keep the plant sturdy and to give it a good firm foundation to grow upwards. Leave the rest to nature and you're good to go. Well, hydroponics, we try to keep the saying KISS, keep it simple, sir. So we feed a mixture of master blend, the standard blend that you would get for tomatoes. And once again, if you are living in a restricted climate, restricted environment, this lasts a long time. It's all natural, nothing bad for the plants, nothing bad for anything that's going on. This is all natural minerals. It's 1 part Epsom salt, it's 1 part nitrate, and 1 part magnesium. We try to keep it as simple as possible. There's nothing else that we put into the system to feed the hydroponics, and you see the growth that we get from our plants. This lasts a long time. There are many ways that you can do it organically if you choose to, but we have to be cost efficient. We have to be smart in how we're spending our money because we have limited resources, and Master Blend really works out for us. All of our equipment in our gardens are powered by solar energy because we're in the desert, so the one commodity that we really have for most of the year is sunlight. Why not use that? Why not utilize it? Why not put it to work? It's there for us, right? About a year and a half ago, we had a power problem in our main house, to which we ended up losing the electricity for most of the house. And that put our fish in danger. That put all of the plants in danger. And my wife and I, we could always go to a motel or a hotel. But what about the fish? What about the plants? They didn't ask to be here. They're here. We can't just let them suffer. So I promised myself that I'd never put my family or my plants or animals in that situation again. So we built a solar power station. This is an 800-watt 4-panel power station. It regulates to about 80 amps at max, and we draw about 4,600 watts a day, which is about 4.6 kilowatts a day. Now, the average household uses about 120 to 126 kilowatts a month. So this tiny little power pack system right here could actually power our house if we wanted it to. But I just want to make sure that the plants and that the fish are safe. In order to run your solar power, you'll need your panels, but you'll also need 2 more pieces of equipment. You'll need a solar charge controller and you'll need an inverter. Now, the solar charge controller, this is basically the brains to the entire system. This tells the panels not to take too much energy so that it's going to overfill and burn out the batteries. It also controls how much power comes through and how much power is let out. This inverter is what we use to transfer all of this 48-volt power down to a 12-volt source so that we can use it to power all of our equipment. Everything's controlled from our computer system, and it relays to my phone if anything acts up with the system, if anything goes wrong. Once again, it started out just to make sure that the plants and that the fish were okay, and now we've actually built a viable power source. When during the summer we have brownouts where the power just browns out over the entire city, we never lose power on our property. And that self-sufficiency and that sense of freedom is so important to me and my family. It's so important because Tucson allows you to do that. It allows you to explore and to express yourself and just live off the land and do what you can. And that's what we're trying to do. Now, solar energy can easily provide power for all of your equipment, but when it comes to nighttime and there's no sun, what are you going to do? That's where your power bank comes into play. And we have 10 100 amp hour batteries down here. They're marine starting batteries, 3.5 kilowatts during the nighttime, and this more than covers enough power. Right now we're drawing at about 13.8 amps, which is awesome. Our system is running at 260 watts, so that's what it's drawing. Right now, solar panels are actually powering all of the equipment here, and it's also feeding energy and storing power in the battery system. Battery banks are very important. We have an 80 amp fuse right here, and we have 20 amp fuses coming off of each solar panel because about a month ago, we had a problem where this actually blew up on me. Stuff happens, and this actually blew up on us. The company was nice enough to replace it, but it was literally user error. You have to always check up on your system, make sure that all of your cables are tight, make sure that all of your lines are correct. If not, the slightest thing can break your system down, and that's what we really want to try to avoid. So we have a lot of safety measures in here. Like we said, the computer will tell me when anything's going wrong. There's also an alarm system set up in here if anything goes awry or astray. The beauty to solar is, and it's a very simple thing, while you have sunlight, it can provide power to your system in real time. The thing to keep in mind is when the sun's down, you need a battery bank. You need a place, you need some form to store that energy. And that's why it's important for you to have a battery bank. Now, a lot of people get solar systems installed in their houses and they're grid tied. What people don't realize is when the power goes out, even if you're tied to the grid, if you don't have a battery storage system, your power's still out even if you have solar. So we chose to do an off-grid method to where we actually store our power so we have it in reserve when we need it. Gotta love living in the desert because you're allowed to do things. You're allowed to have chickens, you're allowed to have pigs. I suggest that everyone checks out their city ordinances to make sure that it's okay to do this. You'll have 5 chickens and we have 2 beautiful pigs. Now you gotta ask yourself, why pigs? We don't harvest the pigs. These are my friends. This is Kevin and this is Kobe. Hi, babies. These guys provide poop for us. And pig poop is one of the greatest fertilizers you can have. And it's very abundant because trust me, these guys eat, they do their business. We put it into our composter, we mix it up with a little bit of straw, a little bit of grass or leaves or whatever we have. We put it together and that's what we're using to rebuild our soil, our beautiful, beautiful, rich Tucson soil. Right now we have clay and we have caliche. It's kind of tough, but If you look at certain parts of the yard, you can actually see the grass growing because we've rebuilt and we've amended the soil. A huge part of organic gardening is amending the soil. We just don't want to amend the soil for organic gardening and for food produce. We want to amend it because it's just good for the environment. Our chickens provide us with a main source of protein in our house. We have 5 chickens, 5 beautiful girls. If you notice them, some of them have like naked necks. Their necks look bare. There's a trick to that. There's a reason for it. That's because they're Transylvanian chickens. They're also known as naked necks. And the idea is they're actually raised in Transylvania, bred in Transylvania, and their naked necks provide them enough space, so that, enough empty skin so that in the summer, when it's extremely hot, they can keep cool. And their chest and their fur, their feathers actually puff out during the winter to keep them warm. So they are like the best chickens to have in the desert. We'll take the eggs. Hey, what are you doing? Hi. Hi, baby. Hi, guys. These guys are so incredibly smart. They're only in here right now because you guys are here, but they actually live in a house with the dogs. And they're house trained. They have a tray in the house that they poo, they pee on, and they actually house train the dogs to use the same tray. Can't eat these guys. They're so smart. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? Ain't that right? One of my favorite things to do is just hanging out with my guys. Come here, buddy. And I find it hilarious. Just if you're ever upset, look, trust me, you can be as mad as you want, but if you ever give a pig lettuce and listen to him chew, it's freaking hilarious. They love lettuce. It's their favorite snack. Pigs can eat meat. You shouldn't feed them meat because they're actually vegetarians. How can you possibly be mad when you have a Zen garden, you have aquaponics, hydroponics, you have amazing chickens, and you have the friendliest pigs ever? Kobe, you're cheating. Don't do that. The beauty to all of this is we're actually located in central Tucson. So we're within walking distance of everything. We're like a 10-minute drive from the center of the city. Once again, check your land ordinances, check your property ordinances, see what you're allowed to do. I would always suggest make sure that it's legal. Check with your neighbors, make sure that they're okay with the sounds because, like personally, our neighbors love waking up to the sounds of chickens. We don't have any roosters because roosters are illegal within city limits. So even by working with the constraints that the city allows you, you can still prosper, you can still provide. We try to make sure that we did this in a central location and we try to keep it as low key as possible. For instance, if you were to drive by our house, unless you knew this was here, you'd never know this was back here. The idea is create your own Shangri-La, create your own paradise. You're the master of your own future. You can create your own happy. I'm fortunate because I find my happy in making my daughter happy, making my wife happy, making my kids happy. They enjoy all of this. Without my family, there'd be none of this. They help build every single thing that you see here. Not only are chickens fun to have, but chickens are the gift that keeps on giving. As a matter of fact, I think we might have something. Let me check. On average, 4 to 5 eggs a day. Now, there used to be a thing in the 40s where it was called the Victory Gardens, where every household should have 2 chickens per person. That's basically what we're doing here. It's just my wife, my daughter, and myself. Now the boys have moved. They live in Phoenix. So we make sure that we have our regimented eggs per day. Nothing about these chickens go to waste. We eat the eggs, the shells we break down, it provides nitrogen for the soil, and we just mix it into the ground. Just that easy. Nothing goes to waste. Nice, delicious, fresh eggs. Another tip about the eggs, all right? And this is very important. Because they came directly from the chickens, these can be stored and refrigerated for up to a year without being treated. Another tip, if you buy store-bought eggs and you want to save them for the long haul, dip them in mineral oil, set them right back into the container and put them in the fridge and they can last for up to a year and a half. It's all about sustaining. We get about an egg a day on average. They're getting right back into their heavy laying season, so sometimes they might put out 1 or 2 eggs a day. We used to have way more chickens, but we had way more eggs and there was too many eggs to deal with. So we kind of cut down our size, we cut down our flock. Another interesting fact about chickens people don't know, they are the closest living relative to the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So if you ever wanted to see how a T-Rex acts, just watch a chicken. You think chickens are cute? They're not. Yeah, that's happening. This is what pigs do when they're nervous. You all right, guys? Yeah? You okay? Hey, Kevin. You all right, buddy? Lettuce is all gone, son. You all right? You all right, Kobe? Yeah? These are my guys. They say if you want a friend in DC, get a dog. I'm gonna tell you, if you really want a good friend, get a pig. Everything's good after that. These guys are incredibly smart. They are the smartest, they are the most intelligent four-legged animal on the planet. It actually goes humans, primates, apes, whales, dolphins, and then pigs. So these guys are incredible, just incredible company. They're great friends. I encourage everyone to just get out there and just learn the animals, not just learn the animals, learn how you can work with them, learn how you can benefit from them, and they can benefit from you. It's an amazing, amazing experience. It truly is. By nature, I'm a scientist, but I find myself in nature any chance that I get. Now, especially in the Sonoran Desert, which is a far cry from where I come from in upstate New York, this has given me so much opportunity to not only explore my environment, but actually explore myself. Not only did I find a cool way to grow things, I actually found a cool way to grow within myself. Now, once again, we try to apply the theory of keep it simple. So when it comes to feeding our animals, we do use an organic pellet feed for both our pigs and our chickens. Pigs like to eat from a dish. Chickens, on the other hand, although they'll eat from a dish, they prefer to basically have it thrown on the ground like scratch. Also, if we actually put the chicken's food in a bowl or a dish, the pigs will eat it because the pigs do not care. It's just food for them. They get along in here. Actually, there's a little bit of chasing. You'll see a chicken chase a pig. You'll see a pig chase a chicken. But they love their little space. They love their little enclosure. Small fact that a lot of people don't know, pigs don't actually sweat at all. They don't. So in order for them to cool down, they use mud. So you see our pigs actually have their own little mud space over there. And they'll go in there and that's what they use to cool down, especially on a super hot day. Pigs don't need much when it comes to an enclosure. This little roof setup that you see right here is perfect for the pigs. They need a bed of straw that's lifted up off the ground. We try, basically, it's not like we're trying to put them in a hotel. They're natural. They're good out here. They're happy. We want to keep it as simple as possible. And once again, for the most part, they don't even stay in here. They stay in the house. They're house pigs, which is a funny term. I got house pigs, dude. 2 of them. I got a pig named Kevin and Kobe that live in a house with me. That's what we do. We watch movies. I watched Justice League with these guys, the Zack Snyder cut. It was awesome with my pigs. This is Kevin Bacon and that's Kobe Beef. Oh, pardon me, Kevin Bacon Collins and Kobe Beef Collins. They have last names. They're family. If you take a look around the yard, you'll see bundles and piles of branches in different stages of decay. That's because we are a local source. We're a local, we handle all of our neighbors' branches and trees, all of the shrub, and we bring it back here so that we can compost it, so that we can bring it right back to the earth again. You'll see some hedges that we actually cut from a few days ago. These are still a little hot. That means that they're high in nitrogen, so we want these to cool down. We want them to get a little bit older, as in the branches that you see on the other side of the yard. Once they do, we'll break them down in our chipper, and from the chipper, we'll move a lot of it over to our composter. Now our composter has all of our animal scraps, it has eggshells in here, it has the waste, the brown waste from the tree branches and things of that nature, but mostly the pig poop. Pig poop breaks down so fast and it's such an amazing, I think the only fertilizer, animal fertilizer better than pig poo is rabbit. I think it's just rabbit. But the pig poo breaks down so fast, and then once we put the water in here, and you throw about a gallon or 2 of water in here, we give it a nice little tumble, you'll actually get the tea to come out from the bottom. You take that tea that lands into these 2 pots on the bottom, you mix that 1 part tea, 3 parts water, and you have another amazing free resource of fertilizer for your traditional growing plants in your garden. We try not to waste everything. We try not to waste anything. We try to keep everything in-house. We try to make the smallest footprint possible in our environment, because if we don't, who's going to? This isn't a one-person project. I'd like to welcome you and introduce you to my family. This is my boy Malik, this is my little girl Charlie, and this is my son Davon. Davon, especially Davon, built a lot of this stuff with his hands. So once he actually moved out to Phoenix, we actually bought a lot of equipment and machines to do the work that he used to do, and I'm pretty sure he's not happy about that, because we could have bought when he was here actually doing it. But we work together as a family. My daughter takes care of the chickens, she takes care of the pigs. My son has basically planted almost everything that you see over there. He helped build the aquaponics rig. He helped build the hydroponics rig. He actually built this entire enclosure over here. They helped me do it because a couple of years ago, I lost my Uncle Bryson. And he was a huge influence and inspiration to me. And I really went into a pit of depression. And without my boy, I just don't know what would have happened. I literally don't know what would have happened. I had my kids out here digging a hole over there for nothing. It was literally a hole in nowhere. And then they moved to Phoenix, and then I filled the hole back in. And then I had them come over here, and then we built this entire system over there. Without them, I'd be nothing. With them, I am everything. So thank you, guys. I hope you all visit here. Tucson is an absolutely amazing place. Come see us down in the Sonoran Desert. Tucson did not pay me to say that.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoy our documentaries as much as we enjoy making them. Unfortunately, many of our videos don't earn enough YouTube revenue to afford the cost of production. But if you like our content, the best thing you can do is directly support it on Patreon. Plus, you'll get access to behind-the-scenes vlogs and commentary. If you're looking for something more in return, go to paragraphic.io where you can buy our other products and services. Alternatively, you can shop our Amazon storefront for our favorite equipment recommendations. Also, check out Boca, where you can find beneficial supplements to optimize your productivity. We especially love the lion's mane and mushroom gummies. And finally, consider signing up to Multitude, a platform built for long-form content, where you and other content creators can share and monetize new videos every week.